Hello and how are you? My name is Muhindo Mubarak and I welcome you to another daily Android Material UI challenge. In today's video, we are going to create an e-commerce form like this one that will allow the user to enter their name and to enter their cards and also to select the date by simply clicking there, and then we show them a calendar and they choose the date. When after choosing the date or picking the date and click OK, that date that they've picked, it will be set to the previous field where they clicked on for that date. We'll go ahead and implement a field where they can select from a list of states if you want to, and also from the list of country if you want to put the country in a list. And also you have a field where the users, they can enter multiple lines like a comment or a note, as you can see in the bottom here. So this is the form that you're going to create in your today's video. I hope you're ready to learn. If you are, then let's do it. First of all, this form, you can use it to collect the data for e-commerce, or you can use it for any other thing that you want to use in your app. So I'll go to the project, to a project that you always work with. I'll close every field so that we can have a few tabs opened, and I'll go to the section of forms. I'll right click on it and then go to new, and then click on and go to activity and then say empty activity. So I'm going to put here an e-commerce form like this, form e-commerce activity, and then I click on finish, so that we should have that form itself there. So I'm going to start creating this form as I explain everything step by step. So I'll go to the front end and then I click on split so that I should be able to see the code and the design. Then I'll collapse this one so that you can have enough space to work with. Then after doing that, I've already created this form as usual, and here we'll first change this linear layout. I mean this constraint layout from constraint layout to linear layout, like that. Then we'll go and give it orientation as vertical, and then after we'll go ahead and give it this up bar in case we want to, this top up bar. So I've put this up bar that you've seen up on top here. So it's just up bar layout on top, and then after you include this toolbar inside with layout of match parent width and height action bar size, and then we give it background of light green 600, and then we can remove this one, or can just press alt and enter and they'll fix themselves. Okay, so we have the up bar there where we'll put our own up bar that we want. Okay, so after doing that, we'll go ahead and put the first name, but the first name will be inside the scroll view. So we'll have to first create a scroll view. Okay, and then we make sure that we do that we close this scroll view, and you know the scroll view will always have only one child. So this is just a nested scroll view, and you can see the attribute by yourself. I don't need to explain them again and again and again. Okay, so if I'm too fast, you just pause the video and then do what, and then write them. Okay, so a nested scroll view will take only one child, so we are giving it a single child inside, which is a linear layout. And then inside this linear layout, we're going to start putting our fields, such as that of first name, and this one of card number, and this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the field of the first name. Of course, going to be the edit text. It's going to be the edit text. No, this one. It's going to be the edit text with the hint inside it. Okay, so inside that linear layout, you see we give a field which is having the name of edit text and the hint of full name. So you can see this field. Make sure that your field is able to appear like that, like mine. Okay, but you should have defined this before. So if you did define it like the way we did in the previous video in your project, just do this one, create a drawable and write these lines in that drawable. give it a name, and then include it here. But otherwise, if you have already done it, then you don't need to. You just need to include that previous drawable that we did with the white background and include it and put it here. If you have not done it, just create it right now. Okay, a layout, not a drawable, a layout, XML layout with these properties. It's the one that will give the white background. You can pause the video and write them, but if you write them in the previous video, you don't need to. So we'll have a text of what, of full name. So we'll go ahead and give the next one, the next field is going to be in a linear layout, since there will be one next to the other. It's going to be a linear layout of orientation horizontal, and we're going to have the first edit field here with a weight, with a width weight of 4, and we have another field which is a view that is going to separate the first field from the next one, and have the next one which is having the weight of what, of 2. So this one is going to double the second one, and it is enclosed into a linear layout. So I'll copy that and come to this after this edit text and paste that linear layout. Okay, so you can pause the video and look at mine carefully, and you see what I've done. It's just a linear layout with the orientation horizontal, which is having the first field separated than view and the next field. Okay, so that is done. We'll go ahead and put the edit text, which is disabled, here. You can see we're having edit text with the ID of expiry date, okay, pattern expiry date, and is having the style of flat gray, and then you're having the width of match parent and height. You can see these attributes. I don't need to do what to explain them one by one. So we are making it editable to be false. This one in fact is now deprecated. You just need to be focusable false, that is enough, or you add enabled false, so that when the user click on it, it will just show, will not allow the user to focus on it, will just show the what, the calendar. Okay, so it is just nothing but what, but edit text view. So look at it and do it. So after, I'll go ahead and put the address line field, the first address and the second address. You can see the first address is just exactly like the second address. The only difference is the what, is the naming. So to save your time, I'll just come after this edit text here and I paste those two addresses. Okay, so I have the first address and the second address. Both of them, they're just edit text. Okay, so you can pause the video and look at them. I don't need to explain everything here. Okay, if you don't like the way I'm doing, you can just put the in the comment section, and in the next video I can improve if you want to be explained line by line. But at this moment, I believe you've got some experience. I don't need to explain everything line by line, but if you want line by line, just put a comment and I'll explain everything line by line. So you see, wrap 45, and then it is just having a hint of city, and then we'll go ahead and create this one of a state, and this state will also not be focusable, since we'll be showing a what, a spinner on it, or a dialog selector on it. Okay, so after, we'll go ahead and put this a country and a zip code. It's also going to be in a linear layout of orientation horizontal. Okay, so you can pause the video and look at my code, how I've done it. Can you see? So this is where there's that logic of linear layout orientation horizontal, having the first text edit, which is having the country, and the next one which is separating the two, and the next one that is having the zip code. Just pause the video and look at the code as you're trying it also on your side. So then lastly, we'll have a comment section. So make sure it is outside this linear layout, which is having orientation horizontal. Make sure it is outside of it, and then put the comment section. The only difference here, will give you the height. You'll specify the height, as you can see here. You can give them number of lines, okay, number of rows. Then it will do the same thing. So here I've just specified the maximum height and the minimum height. So we'll be able to get this one. So this is the minimum height. If you want to increase it, just make it 100, then it will be a little bit bigger than it was. Okay, so because the maximum is 100, so it cannot go beyond that. So you can make here maybe 150 or 120, like this. So it means that it will be expanding as the user text increases, but if it reaches 120, then it will stop. Okay, so that is what we've got. Then lastly, we'll go ahead and put the our button for submit. Okay, the button for submit is going to be button rectangle green. So you can also create it right now. Alt and enter. It's just going to be a resource or a drawable. Copy it, come and paste it, and then have that button kind of. So I click on the code. You can look at the code. That is a layout for this button. Okay, and then we'll end up having a button like that one. So maybe I can just give here the background of our green color, this one, add color light green. I don't know why it's not responding. Maybe when you run it, it will just appear, but I don't know why it's not responding. It is keeping the primary color. We'll see what was the reason as we run it. Maybe this borderless. No, that is not the reason. Okay, so when we run it, we'll see what could be the reason why it is keeping the primary color. But you can get the point that this layout that we define is the one that will have to change its color. Okay, so that's it. So we have our beautiful form at this point, where we're having the full name and the card field, I mean the card number and the expiry date and everything with the state and the country. So I'm going to run this project, and then after we'll come back and put now the spinners for the lists. For example, a state and a country. I have to specify them using using the dialog boxes. Okay, so let's go and do that. So I'll come here and copy this from Ecommerce, and then I come to a project and I come to the form main menu. I'm going to add one more method that when you click on it will be called to open the form main menu. Just keep it like this. Okay, so here I'll change the class to form. It will open the form for Ecommerce, so I'll change the class to to form Ecommerce activity, the one that we just created. Then I'll go to this layout and put the button of Ecommerce activity. Okay, so I'll first change the the method to be called form Ecommerce, form Ecommerce, and change the name to Ecommerce form. Okay, so after doing that, we'll have this button for opening that Ecommerce form. So let us run the project and we see. Then after we'll come back and start putting the dialogues. So we click on forms, and then you see e-commerce form, and then that's our e-commerce form. So it looks nice, only that this field has to be changed to the green color so that we can have that feeling of the green color itself. So we're going to implement this date. Like when the user clicks here, we should show the date or the calendar for the user to select. Okay, and then also we'll show also the state. When the user clicks on the state, you should show a list of states. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so we'll have to do some back end, of course. So I'll come here to the form Java, and I'm going to implement the code for the Java itself. I mean for the logic that we're going to do. First of all, I have to initialize the toolbar, and this is our method that we created for initializing the toolbar settings. So this is going to be navigation icon. I'll remove this one and just keep this commented for now. So I'll call this init toolbar at this point. So after initializing the toolbar, we'll go ahead and initialize the components, or you just bind views that are in our project. Okay, so I'll go and create this method step by step, so I can put it here on top. I've called it init component, initialize components. So I'll call it after initializing the toolbar. So to initialize components, the first one is going to be just find view by ID, which is going to be expiry date. Okay, here I don't want to create its object. Why? Because we'll use it only a single time, so I don't need to create its object. It's unnecessary. You just write the bracket, a first bracket, and inside that bracket you put find view by ID, which is r.id.btn expiry date. Remember, we already have that button in our e-commerce form. We already have that field right here. Okay, expiry date, this one, we already have it. So can you give it any ID that you want, this one. Okay, so as long as you can point at it. Okay, so here I'm going to put a click listener. Like when someone clicks on it, we should launch the calendar. Okay, so I'll just simply come and put the click listener. Set a click listener, set dot on click listener, and then after we show the dialog date picker light. So here we show the the dialog date picker. Okay, this function I've not created it, but we're going to create it right now, so that if the user clicks there, we should be able to show the date picker, or the calendar that the user can use to do what, to select a date. So I'm going to create it as a function here. So I'm just going to say create a method. No, it's not supposed to be here. Let me put it here so it can be accessible here. Okay, so in that we're going to put the logic of selecting the date. So I'm going to explain line by line here. So first of all, you get the calendar instance, you create the calendar variable. It's just calendar, so you can call it current calendar. It's called calendar.get instance. Okay, then after doing that, you write date picker is equal to, you create an object for date picker. Like this, date picker, and then we equate it to date picker.new instance. Okay, date picker dialog dot new instance. Okay, So let me just copy this part and then I'll explain it. Date picker dialog, that new instance. So one more thing before we proceed, I forgot to tell you to implement the date picker dependency. Okay, so I have to implement the date picker dependency. Okay, this is the date picker dependency. You can just simply search it here, material date picker. Search it on internet, material date picker. Yeah, like this. Let me show you where you can get it. See, material date picker. I forgot to tell you that. So it is on GitHub, and you just simply, this one that you're going to use, you simply just get this this dependency, this one. Okay, just copy this dependency, material date picker. That's why it was failing to do what, to resolve in our project. 4.2.0 right now it is 4.2.0, which has been updated. Previously it was a hassle. I'll go to the dependency. Let me first even undo this here. So I'll go to a dependency, Drawable module, and add this date picker, and then click on sync. Then it will be synced. So it is done with syncing. I can now close it. Now here it should be resolved. So come here on top and remove anything that is relating to date picker. Remove this one, and then we come and create it afresh like this. Date picker dot equals date picker dot new instance. You can see it is now resolving. Dot new instance is just one word, right? Instance. Then inside that new instance, you write new date picker instance. Okay, or can say new on date picker listener. New on date set listener, like this. No date picker listener. New on date set listener. This one. New on date set listener. I repeat, let me do it again. You first create an object of date picker dialog, and then you say is equal to date picker dot new instance. Let me just do it again so I can see. Date picker dialog dot new instance, and then inside here put new on date set listener, and just press enter. Everything will be made for you, and then inside here is where you do the logic of converting that date to the date that you can implement in your in your project. So inside here on date set here, you see it will give us a year, it'll give us a month of a year and the day of a month. Okay, so if you want to read more, just come here to GitHub and read more. The details, I will find them here, what is meant by everything. So I'm going to copy this code and then explain it here. So here you say calendar, it's called calendar.get instance. Say calendar.set year, and then we make it we pass the year that we have been given it through here, and then say calendar.set month, we get the month that we've got here, and calendar.set day of month, we get the day of month here. After doing that, then we convert these days that we've set from this calendar object, we convert them into a date. That's why you see here we are doing like this. Then we say edit text view, then we get this the edit text view that we created. Then say do tools.get short date. Okay, so this is just a method that we can create even here in the tools, that is going to convert for us the date that we've been provided in a timestamp into a normal date. So this is the method that can do that. We just simply write simple date is got simple date format is got new date format, and then you put which represent the month, and DD represent the day and the year, and then say new format. You return now new format dot format date, and then here you pass the date and pass this thing that have been provided here. You can receive it through this, okay, this string that has been provided. Okay, make a return Java string. Okay, so like that. So here like this. So that's what it will work. That's how it will work. So here the view, or this view that have been passed to us, will change it into a edit text, and we set its date to be what has been given to us. So if you want to change to save this date in your project, then it's here. You can use this month, you can use this date, you can use this one to do anything that you want to make in your project, or to convert it to any kind of. Here I convert it to timestamp, and then after I convert it to the date that can be understandable, okay, by the human being. So by doing like that, then we'll have been able to do what, to select the date. So I'll run the project again. And then I click on forms, and then I click on Ecommerce form, and I click on what, on date, and then you should be able to see the date. We won't see it because we have not put the logic of displaying the date. We will not see it because I have not put the logic of of displaying the date. Okay, so if you want to initialize this date with a year or a month or anything, we can use this current date. You see, current date, and then initialize the current date with the current year and the current month. Okay, you pass them through this date set date listener. After it, then you can pass the current year, the current date, and the current month that you should be initialized it with. Okay, that is optional. You can as well leave it. So you just come here after the listener and put a comma, and you can pass current year. It's just option, just first leave them for now. It's just not working here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and display the date. Okay, so we're going to set the theme to be false, and then after we set the accent color to be the primary color, and then we get here we're trying to create our own theme, or how the date should look like, or the calendar, how the calendar should look like. And then we also set the minimum date to be the one in the calendar, but here you can skip it since we don't have this variable for now. And then after, but if you want to say the minimum date, you can as well set it from here. And then here you say the title, what should be shown in the description. So I'll go ahead after creating the object, and then I'll go ahead and do what, and create. Set the theme to be false, and then set the accent color, and then set the minimum date, which is the current date or current calendar instance, and then we give it dot show, and this dot show has changed. It is not as how it was in the old. think dot show right now doesn't take any dot show. Takes the fragment, the current date, so you put get support dot fragment manager, and then you can put here the title. So our title is going to be expiry date, or what it should be shown in the calendar title. So if you don't put dot show, your the date will not show, which will not show up. Okay, it will be created, but it will not show up the calendar. So let us run the project again and see what we've come up with. So we go to the forms, and we go to the e-commerce form and click on the date, and we can see the date has been displayed. You can see the date has been displayed, and when you click OK, you can see the date that we choose has been set to be the date into the date field. So that's how we implement the date. So for you, what you will be just collecting these, the year, the month, and the day, and you can convert it to anything. For example, you see me here, I converted it to what? To timestamp, and you use it to implement in your project. So that's how I can do that. Okay, so there's another thing that you have to do. Which other thing? I think that you're going to do it by yourself, because this video has become too long. This dialog, selection of a dialog, you see, you can select state. Okay, so do that by yourself. Like when I select a state, it will do what? It will set that state field. I mean, the state field should be set from here. But that you will do it by yourself as you challenge yourself. It is just a dialog of single item select. Okay, and when you select something, you make sure that it is set to this field. But that you'll do it by yourself. Me, I've shown you how you can implement the date library and the date picker library. Okay, so for the remaining one, please don't just ignore it, but challenge yourself and do it. So let's meet in the next video, where we're going to make more interesting forms of Android Material UI. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please.